This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Hey everybody, welcome to the WWE Podcast. It's Sunday, August 11th, 2024, as we are headed towards Bash in Berlin, just a few weeks away, or just a couple weeks away, really, as it's coming fast and furious now. The PLEs are no longer spaced out any longer than, I think, 4 weeks would be the most that I've seen in a while. And from here on out, I mean, we are into, dare I say, Survivor Series season? Do I dare say we go that far? And of course, at that point, we've all kind of projected out what that event's going to be, what that main event's going to be, as the Bloodline looks like it's going to be taking on the Bloodline, and maybe we have a similar story going on with the Judgment Day in the Judgment Day, the new version versus the old version, maybe. But, of course, we got a lot of time to talk about that. We're going to talk about this week in WWE. But before we get there, I want to give a shout-out to some new members over at Patreon. Gary, Jeff, thank you both for joining us over at Patreon and getting yourself an ad-free experience, because there's no better way to listen to audio than not having to skip through ads. And you can do that over at Patreon. You can do that over at Apple, Spotify, and our website, wwepodcast.com. If you go VIP, our website does offer that still. So let's jump into this week, guys. As we saw the return of Roman Reigns to SmackDown, we saw Jacob Fatu confirm that he's injured. It seems that's not an angle. People were speculating about that, him maybe just doing a great sell job, or if it's a legit injury. It looks like it's a legitimate injury with Jacob Fatu, which is a big bummer for the group. Jacob Fatu really added a nice, just animalistic feel to the group, and hopefully, he's back soon. I haven't seen the recovery time on his injury, but it is a big bummer that he is injured. Unless they're still doing a great job of selling things, but I think it is real. But I'll just start there. Of course, we could talk about Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, which we will, and you guys can listen to a full SmackDown review that Amanda did, available in this feed just a couple shows ago. So let's talk about Roman Reigns' return. Big deal. Crowd loved it. Tulsa, Oklahoma, loved it. I like his new entrance music. It is a nice evolution. Same with LA Knight. We'll get to him too. And Roman Reigns' return is so far on track to, and I've been saying this for a while, but still rings true. It's really hard to screw this up because the fans wanted him back so bad. Now, how long is he going to be here? Is he going to continue this schedule like he did when he was the champion? He might. I would think yes. I would think that just because he's turned babyface doesn't mean that his contract changed. They could have added dates and money. They could have, but I haven't heard anything. So I would anticipate, guys, that if you were annoyed by the Roman Reigns absences, well, then you're going to have to get used to them moving forward. I mean, he has these dates built in. He has himself a nice cushy schedule with a lot of money, and good for him. It's good for his body. It's good for his mind. It's good for his family's life. And I don't blame him at all. So maybe as fans, we give him a little bit more of a little bit more room to breathe with this schedule, because don't forget, he's not champion anymore. So there's that. That was the biggest gripe that we had, was we have no champion. Well, we have a champion, but he's absentee. So that's no longer the case. And now you can get to the point where seeing him truly feels special, instead of seeing him and being reminded when you see him that he's not here. So I would anticipate Roman not being at every SmackDown, probably once a month, and then takes a month off. Then he, comes to SmackDown for a couple weeks, disappears, that kind of thing. I mean, that's kind of Roman's schedule now. I don't think he will ever go back to full-time, every house show. And you know what? He doesn't need to. That's the thing. Like, you could get annoyed by it, but does he really need to do this? No, I think it's good for his babyface run because, number one, he's not champion, so that albatross of holding him back that fans were annoyed about is no longer there. And it allows fans time to miss you. So I think this schedule that he had and continues to have will be very beneficial for his babyface role, where it was just an annoyance with him as a heel, and not in a good way, in a way that was frustrating to watch, not fun to watch. So this will be a good thing for Roman, I think. And this past week, he ends up taking out the Bloodline henchmen without Jacob Fatu. Tama Tonga and Tongaloa each eat a couple of Superman punches, and then one of them, I can't remember which one, it might have been Tongaloa, took a spear as we had a little bit of interaction with the Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns story. We had a little bit of interaction directly with them. Superman punch on Solo, but set up for the spear, and he was pulled out of the ring to safety. I like that. You don't want the main heel getting the finish hit on him too many times, because that's what you pay for. That's what you want to see. So you're going to have to pay for it, so to speak, and wait for it to get that moment. And yeah, we got it at SummerSlam, but now you want to see it again. And I think this is something that's built up very nicely. The one question I have is, when are we going to hear from Roman? When are we going to hear? I mean, I would imagine his entire argument is going to be centered around he's the original tribal chief. That has to be the original. I mean, he made a whole shirt out of it. And I can't believe, if you listen to my SummerSlam review, when Roman first debuted this shirt, the OTC shirt, for some reason I couldn't decode it. I needed some kind of, some sleuth to figure it out. I don't know why I couldn't figure out original tribal chief. I was thinking if he was going to do that, he would say OG, like as an original. That's what I mean. Obviously, OG stands for original tribal chief, but that'd be too many acronyms or too many letters in the acronym. But the fans started to get into it this week. They started to chant OTC. So it's catching on. I like it. No problem there. Good for merch. Good for business. Refreshes Roman. And with the new music, it refreshes his character along with the new babyface character. I like how he's not smiling a lot. He's just still kind of just Roman Reigns, the tribal chief. And I would like to hear from him soon, though. Maybe we'll get that next week. Maybe the week after. But this match with Solo is probably going to be set up for Bash in Berlin, you would think. And if that's the case, then they don't have a whole lot of time left to really promote this and use the promos for their promotion. So perhaps we do get at least maybe a 5-minute promo from Roman. He can easily milk that. The crowd will be chanting, which will take up 2.5 minutes of it. Roman's never been a long-form promo guy, ever, even in his tribal chief role. Roman has never been known for his excellent promos, but he's been known for improving on his promos. He's gone from horrible suffer and succotash to serviceable to good to at times very good. He has yet for me to approach excellent or top tier, but that's okay. Not asking for him to be that. He has more than earned himself already a Hall of Fame spot. So, again, very few guys check every single box and get excellent in every single category. It's very difficult. Now, Roman right now doesn't need to work, as I said, every single day. He doesn't need to do house shows. Can he? Yes, sure, he could. I'm sure some of those are built in, but not a lot. So if you have the chance to see Roman Reigns, I mean, he's kind of a special attraction at this point. He doesn't wrestle like one. He's still incredibly good in the ring. But he is a special attraction in the sense that he's not going to be doing a ton of dates. So this match with Solo, this presumed match with Solo Sikoa at Bash in Berlin, or maybe we have Solo and his henchmen versus Roman Reigns, and looks like it's a handicap match, and then Jimmy comes to his aid or something. We'll see. We're all still waiting for that reunion to happen. We're waiting for that move for Jay to come to SmackDown, for Sammy to come to SmackDown, with them not doing a whole bunch and Sammy dropping the title on Raw. That does move the chess piece into place for those two to come to Raw to eventually rejoin and become a part of the OG Bloodline, which we all know is coming to face the Solo Sikoa version of the Bloodline. And that's the money match. We all know that. yes, The Rock's coming back, as I say all the time, but it's a really important piece to remember here that The Rock is going to come back probably in the next couple of months to rejoin this the story and reignite things to WrestleMania, which, again, could lead to Roman and Rock. But a lot of time to get there, so we'll pause on that. But this past week, again, not much to say other than it was a good week for Roman, and I'm ready for him to talk. I've seen my share of Superman punches already, which we could count probably almost in double digits since he's returned. I mean, he's dished out so many Superman punches, and I'm ready for him to talk. Like, why are you back? Why are you specifically mad at Solo? We can all infer what that is, but I want to hear it from him. You know, I'm ready for Roman to do an interview, even if it's a sit-down interview, even if it's a sit-down interview with Solo, or, I mean, we'll see. But it is time for him to talk, and not just through Paul Heyman's voice. So Paul Heyman also hasn't returned yet. It's just the big guy who's back, and we'll see when the other pieces fall into place for Roman Reigns to fully reunite the OG bloodline. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And of course, with The Rock looming out there, probably on the opposition, right? On the opposing side of Roman. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But, all right. Well, there's that, of course. And then on SmackDown, which I do heavily focus on, which is, I always wonder why I call this weekend review. It's really SmackDown review part 2. So I'm reworking things on a Sunday night where it may not be called weekend review, just maybe just something else. So we have Cody Rhodes and we have Kevin Owens, right? And this past week, Cody Rhodes put the bloodline behind him, or tried to, and the bloodline comes out and he denied Solo a rematch, saying he didn't deserve it. Which is kind of funny, given that, you know, Roman Reigns is the one that really came out and helped Cody Rhodes defeat Solo. And you have Cody Rhodes then, after Kevin Owens came to his aid again, having him choose Cody Rhodes choosing Kevin Owens to be his opponent at Bash in Berlin. And this is... You kind of know where I'm going to go with this. I have no issue at all with Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. You know what quality match you're going to get. You even know the outcome. There's almost no chance Cody Rhodes loses here. In fact, it's probably exactly 0%. I wouldn't even give it any chance of success for Kevin, which stinks for him. But he gets a main event spot in a PLE. So good for him. He continues to be the bridesmaid, but never the bride. And he is going to put on a really good match. Now, I don't have any problem with the match in principle. Again, as I just explained why, it's a good matchup. Is Kevin going to turn heel in this? No, I don't think so. I don't see a need for it. Cody's got enough enemies. But what I do take exception with is Kevin Owens' character rejecting the offer from Cody Rhodes to become champion. It made his character look like weak sauce. Not Cody Rhodes. We'll get to his stuff in a minute. But Kevin Owens. And I'm sure Kevin Owens didn't enjoy this particular part of the promo because he has to make up a reason why he doesn't feel he deserves it. He doesn't feel like he's earned it. Has he looked at the challengers the last few months? Guys that just show up and attack champions. You know, like, how are you going to measure or determine that you are not worthy of a championship? Now, even if you don't think you are, first of all, you keep that to yourself. You take the opportunity. We are supposed to believe that everyone there is trying to become champion, or at least has aspirations to. And when you're gifted that opportunity, you take it. I understand they're doing what they did the way they did to protect Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes from making it look like Kevin Owens is skipping the line. But Kevin Owens, he doesn't get a whole bunch of title shots. And even when he does, he's not going to win 95% of the time, that he has almost no chance because of the way the storylines are going at that particular moment. So with Kevin Owens, I'm sure, again, I don't think he was enamored with him having to say that he felt like he doesn't deserve it. Deep down, he's sitting there going, hell with that. F you, I deserve this. Hell yeah, I deserve this. Damn well that in real life, he's sitting there having to completely 180 how he actually feels. What do you mean you don't deserve it? You've been in WWE for a decade. You've had PLE opportunity after PLE opportunity. You've been Universal Champion. You've been Tag Team Champions. You have had incredible matches. You brought Stone Cold Steve Austin out of retirement, for God's sakes. And you don't deserve it? It made me pity him. I don't want to feel pity for Kevin Owens' character. I understand what they're doing, guys. I'm not stupid, although some of you may strongly disagree. I know that they're trying to make it look like Kevin is doing everything he can to say, no, I don't deserve it. I don't want to be gifted this. Stop it. You're in a professional sport. You have the opportunity to be at the top of the game and be champion, and you're turning it down out of some kind of moral declaration? No. Stop it. Stop it. It's like Cody had to essentially strong arm, force, beg Kevin Owens for this opportunity. And when it should be kind of the other way around. I know that Cody's supposed to be the nice guy giving a babyface a title opportunity, but since when is it also Cody's decision? Nick Aldis, I know he is the one that eventually okayed it and we are getting it, but how many times are we told you don't make the matches we do? Well, Cody's out there handpicking people. He's handpicking people. I mean, if quote unquote earning it, which is by default, Kevin Owens has earned that opportunity. But if they wanted to create the illusion that he earned it on SmackDown, give him a match. Give him a match against a heel that is plausible he could lose to. Have Kevin Owens win that match, and then that person faces Cody at the Bash in Berlin. But instead, they just had Kevin saying, no, please don't make me take this opportunity. I don't want the title opportunity. I don't deserve it. I'm this pitiful character. Are you kidding? Again, this is going to be a really good match. It's a stepping stone. We know that. We know that this is just another kind of match that needs to happen for Cody to get to the next step, while Kevin Owens likely just stays where he's at, which is the upper mid card. Occasionally, as we're seeing, gets an opportunity at the title, even if you have to beg, kick, and scream for him to take it. And then he'll remain there while Cody goes on to again bigger and better things. Now it's possible Kevin turns heel here. It's possible, and if that's the case, then maybe why he begged and he had to beg Kevin to take it was a little bit more reasonable, because he knew that if he took this opportunity, he would have to turn on Cody because of what X reason. I don't know. So if this is a setup for a turn for Kevin, then okay, maybe I can get on board. But right now it looks like it's just a forced title opportunity. You had to just force feed it to Kevin. And then, of course, you have Cody, who's just playing, as he always does, Mr. Feminine moral compass. Again, nothing wrong with femininity in and of itself, but not on men. Okay, femininity is meant for women. Masculinity is meant for men. This is just common knowledge. But when you inject one into the other, it never seems to work. And especially in pro wrestling, it does not work well. It feels unnatural with Cody, as I said. But before you guys give me 1-star reviews for complaining about Cody all the time, I'm going to move on. And Nia Jax is preparing for her celebration next week, so she wasn't on this week. And Tiffany Stratton is backstage, and she's preparing for it. And she runs into Chelsea Green, who, they had their little kind of spat back and forth. that ended up with some kind of, very prepared lines. Tiffany, I don't believe she made an appearance in the show, at least in a wrestling capacity, but she is heavily being considered as a suspect for cashing in on Nia, kind of sowing those seeds of doubt that Tiffany is going to cash in on Nia, and Nia cannot trust Tiffany. So that makes sense, but the more they push it, the more you're thinking, yeah, there's no chance that she's going to cash in on Nia now because they're being so forthright about it. But yeah, obviously Tiffy time has a long way to go before that briefcase expires. And it's also a good thing on SmackDown, something I liked, believe it or not. The Street Profits, who seemed a little bit more serious. I like the pairing with B-Fab. I think it's natural. I think that the Street Profits have got a little bit more serious. Yes, they had their Bobby Lashley kind of weird babyface run that was never really took off. But if they're going to keep this version of the Street Profits, I'm okay with it. They seemed a little bit more focused, less jokey, less kind of New Day-ish, and stayed focused on their match with A-Town Down Under, who continues to lose and continues to lose and continues to lose. And they end up beating A-Town Down Under. And so the Street Profits end up getting an opportunity at the tag titles. So Street Profits versus Tama Tonga Tongaloa of the Bloodline is going to be a match. Is it going to be a match at the PLE? I would hope so. I would hope that they reserve the tag title match for the PLE, but given the Triple H, especially with B-level PLEs, seems to have 5 matches max on it. I don't know if this will make the cut. We'll see. But it's nice to see the Street Profits in a role that's not irrelevant. And it's amazing that they're still together, really. DIY and Pretty Deadly took a shot at each other. And, Pretty Deadly, I'm a little concerned about. Not that I don't hate the gimmick. I think the gimmick has been played out before. They're a little bit of Billy and Chuck from the early 2000s, for those of you that remember that. It was like insinuated that they were gay, but they never actually were, apparently, or whatever. And so, sure, if that's a storyline they want to take, it's 2024, different culture, right? I don't have a problem with it. I think the storyline, the characters work well off one another. What they're missing is a connection with the crowd. They don't have one. And that's very evident when they come out. There's just no reaction. And, when they're backstage or doing vignettes or, saying yes, boy, or whatever, they seem confident. I mean, it's not like I feel like they're, playing a character, even though they obviously are. So it's not that they're not being genuine, but sometimes just being genuine isn't enough in and of itself to create a connection with the crowd. And they just haven't gotten that yet. Am I saying they should be fired? No. Am I saying that they're useless? No, of course not. But there is that massive problem here that the connection with the crowd does not exist. Or if it does, I am not aware of it. I'm living in a different reality, I guess, than you. They need that connection with the crowd. They need it in the worst way to continue to be relevant. Now, it doesn't help that the WWE has not utilized them in a big way at all. They've been very hit or miss, and that's being generous when I say that. They've been in vignettes that have been half funny, and then they're backstage doing something or doing nothing, or they're in catering, or then they have a match, and then they're back to disappearing for 4 weeks. And so it's hard to get anyone over like that, no doubt. But just watching them this week, I'm concerned for them. I want them to continue. I do actually find their gimmick entertaining, but it needs more, and they need more. They need that connection, as I said. But they face DIY, who's obviously a wrestling machine. You kind of knew that they were going to win here, and they did. So DIY continue to roll. And I think that they have a bright future ahead of them with likely a tag title reign in their future in the next 6 to 12 months. So, all right. Well, let's see what else happened. Oh, and by the way, the tension between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller continues to build as Grayson Waller was put into a match next week that Theory suggested. And, we have Grayson Waller who's not happy about it, but they continue to do things that undermine the other, but say that they don't. And it's a fun little dynamic that you don't know when the bridge is going to collapse. You know the collapse is coming. You just don't know how much time is left on the timer before it goes boom. And who's going to come out as the good or bad guy? We don't know that yet either. But it's still fun. They're also still a team that, believe it or not, I think has more of a connection with the crowd than Pretty Deadly does in the ring. Is there, right now, let me just ask this just generally, is there anyone on the roster that isn't so athletic that they're not ultra talented in the ring? It's like everybody now, I haven't said anything bad about quality of match outside of, matches are short. That can happen. But the roster is so stacked with athletes that it's almost never a concern that the match quality is going to be bad. It's almost impossible given how good everyone is from an athletic perspective. Doesn't mean because you're an athlete, you're great in the ring, because in the ring requires psychology, timing, character development, and so forth, and telling a story. It's not just about the moves, but still, when you have that attribute of being ultra athletic and everyone is that way, sometimes having just a crazy match can make up for some of the lost pieces of wrestling, which is, that's an argument to be had maybe another time, but the athleticism can deodorize a lot of the missing pieces sometimes. Well, speaking of someone that comes on again, off again, Jade Cargill had a match with Alba Fire. Jade Cargill beats Alba Fire in about 2 minutes. And so we're back to the Jade Cargill quick matches. Now, I will say I see the appeal of these quick matches with Jade, because you'd never know that she's, if you didn't know it already, that she's kind of limited in the ring, that she's not as athletic. She doesn't present the type of match quality that we've all come to expect at this point in 2024, because she might be more of a sprint than a marathon wrestler. And that's okay. 2 minutes is a little short. Maybe they can bump that up to 6, 7, 8 minutes for a match. Not everybody needs to have a 20-minute classic. I think we sometimes need to realize that. But with Jade Cargill, first of all, it's good to see her, because it feels like it's been a hot minute, as the kids say. Having the reuniting of not just the Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill duo, but having Naomi do something again is nice, and having her be a part of this trio that was a team at WrestleMania. It's fun. I would like Naomi to turn heel. That has been proposed out there, I think, by a couple of our listeners. I do like that. I think Naomi needs, in the worst way, something to do that's not just one-off. She needs a story, and I think Naomi turning heel could be a great story, unless you want to keep these three women together, which you could. There is value in these three together, but you can't compete for tag titles in a trio, unless you do, of course, you could do Freebird rules or whatever, but generally you don't have a female faction go for tag titles. Okay, I'm proven wrong there because Damage Control did it, but it's an exception, not the rule, all right? If you're going to especially when with the caliber, the stars, the caliber of Jade and Bianca and Naomi, tag titles aren't the way to go with that trio. The reason you put them together is to have one of them turn on the other. So I think Naomi would be a perfect candidate for that. Jade and Naomi, I like. Jade and Bianca, I love, but we're not there yet. The reason we're not there yet is time of the year. That's a WrestleMania match, and I don't think Jade's ready for that. The fact, again, I don't know if the fact that we look at this match with Jade and Alba Fire going 2 minutes and say, oh man, that's not good. You could look at it that way. If you're a pessimist, you could look at it and say, that's not good. They're pulling back her minutes again. Now she's down to 2 minutes. They don't trust her to have a long match. But you could also look at it and say, okay, well, maybe this is to reestablish her. as dominant. It's to get her back in the minds of fans. So there's two ways to look at it. Two schools of thought. Maybe both. So it's nice to see Cargill. She's, she gets a pretty good reaction, pretty decent reaction. It's not overwhelming yet. She's still she's still got the general support of the crowd, but the crowd isn't like super passionate about her yet because they haven't had a chance to connect with her. It's all about that connection. And I think that will come with time. It'll come with longer, better wrestling performances in the ring. It'll come with promos. So Jade, while she looks like a star, they're trying to work on the actual parts that make someone a star, which is promos in ring. Now, she has that intangible presence, and she's done a hell of a job on her body and making herself look like one of the best pure athletes the women's division offers in the company. And so that's important because, it's for photo shoots and action figures and video games and just all of that. And you just have an aura about you when you look like that, especially for a woman. But now comes the real part. Now comes, okay, you got their attention. People have their eyes on you. Now what are you going to do? How are you going to reel me in? You've got my attention. Your physique is incredible. Now, how are you going to hold my attention? That's the tougher question. That's the one that's difficult to execute. So we'll see what they do with Jade. But it's good to see her at least back on TV in a singles match. And Naomi. Watch for Naomi. LA Knight comes out. And he's got a new entrance theme, which it's not really like... It's almost like they pretended the old version didn't sound a whole lot like the new version. Like the new version is very, very, very similar to the old because, okay, they substituted some guitar riffs and more of an edgier sound to some otherwise softer parts of the song, which is fine. It's more of a tweaked version of his song. It's almost like somebody online remixed it, it still sounds good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining about it. They just tried to pretend that it was like brand new. It's like, nah, bruh. It's like 90% the same, but I like it. It's fine. It adds a new flavor. Again, when you have, these declarative moments for stars or a turn for a star, sometimes changing the music isn't a bad thing. It coincides with the change. And LA Knight said that you deserve a chant broke out, and Knight said that Paul deserved to be stomped out. That's what he got, and didn't care about beating Knight in his hometown. Rather, Knight said he didn't care about beating Logan in his hometown. Rather, he called saying that he would be called champ and that he's arrived, calling back to an old promo, and that he understands this title makes him a marked man, but he's been a marked man since he arrived on SmackDown. And that's when Legado del Fantasma comes out, and we had Santos Escobar tell Knight that he eventually will become an opening act in his own reign. And Escobar said it's a fact of life that he should be the U.S. champ with everyone saying his name. And Andrade ends up leaving. So this matchup is going to happen. Does Santos have any chance of winning? Probably not, although Santos Escobar, I think, after his heel turn, which was magnificent and forgotten about, unfortunately, has also been pushed aside, and seeing him back in the limelight's fun. And he had a really good match here with Andrade. And Andrade, two luchadors, prime athletes. These two could have talk about a 60-minute Iron Man match. Imagine that. Or even like a 30-minute Iron Man match. Santos did beat Andrade in 11 minutes and 50 seconds after a roll-up, which was funny that a roll-up did the trick and yet not the 14 kicks to the head or the ultra-dangerous reverse. I don't know the name of it. It wasn't a Spanish fly. It was like a reverse Hurricane Rana. That nearly like broke the neck of Andrade. It was incredibly dangerous. And these guys are just no fear, man. No fear. And Santos Escobar getting the victory solidified his shot at the U.S. title. So that's likely going to be a match at Bash in Berlin. And Santos, as I said, is a sneaky good heel. He's one that I don't think people talk about enough. So that'll be fun with LA Knight. LA Knight kind of refreshed, needed that victory at SummerSlam to get the belt. Logan Paul is reportedly injured as well. I don't think it's that severe, but he reportedly is. Seth Rollins, as we know, pivoting a little bit. But Seth Rollins was written off TV with the 6 splashes by Bronson Reed to allow him time to heal up with chronic injuries that he has going on. As I said on the Raw review, probably the neck, or rather the back or the knee that has been bothering him forever, and getting himself healthy for what's going to be ramping up to a really fun WrestleMania season. So some significant injuries out there, guys. Significant injuries. And I think that we're going to be slowly trickling people back. I'm still shocked that we don't have a Charlotte return. I was so confident, so arrogant that we're going to have Charlotte back at SummerSlam, if not the SmackDown after, and I've been ultra wrong on that. Now, she could come back next week and interrupt Nia Jax's celebration. That's a very big possibility, so I could be off by a week here. But, so no Charlotte yet. So let's see what else we had here on SmackDown, and I already talked about some of these DIY and Pretty Deadly, and yeah, we got the finish here with Roman and the OTC chants, and it was a fun return for Reigns, no doubt about it. Like, I mean, Roman Reigns, the return so far, I think, has been a success. Is it the way I would have done it? No, it's not. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. Doesn't mean mine would have been any better in execution. I'm sure those of you listening probably had your own ideas of how they should probably return with Roman Reigns. But ultimately, we're getting the match that we wanted. Solo versus Roman, presumed at Bash in Berlin. We still have many more pieces to come back. Many more. With Jay, Jimmy, Sammy, Paul, and Jacob Fatu. And The Rock. There's like 5 pieces left we haven't even got back yet. This story is far from over. So I hate to say it for those of you that I know, and I know there's some of you who listen to the show who are just tired of the Bloodline stuff. Get used to it. This is still another year away from being resolved. And even then they'll come up with some version of the story that will hook fans back in. So I hate to say it. I know some of you out there are just so tired of it. I can understand that to a degree. I absolutely can. So, all right. Well, let's run through Raw a little bit here. I know that Monday Night Raw, as I said, had the attack by Bronson Reed on Seth Rollins that wrote Rollins off TV to help him get healthy. And we also had the Punk and Drew McIntyre stuff continue, which I thought was going to, after Drew took the bracelet again from Punk after the match at SummerSlam, you kind of knew, okay, this ain't over, and it's not. And it could culminate at Bad Blood inside Hell in a Cell. That's my prediction, in case you care, is that Punk and Drew have a Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood. Now, that would mean that these two have to continue for another 2 months. That may seem like a lot, but given the fact that they continued their program from January, when this whole injury happened at the Rumble, of course, accidentally, 7 months later to SummerSlam, I think we can deal with another 2 months. I think we're okay. I think we'll make it. Okay. It'll be fine. So we'll see what happens there. But that's my prediction, that they end this whole thing between Drew and Punk at Bad Blood in Hell in a Cell. Calling back, of course, to the infamous first Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. I will be shocked if they don't have a Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood this year. It's amazing. It's amazing that, 27 years later, we're talking about Bad Blood again with a potential Hell in a Cell again. wouldn't it be wild too if somehow The Undertaker showed up? I know I'm totally fantasy booking here and wish casting. I get it. Not to have a match. No, I'm not saying for Undertaker to get involved in a program and start a program to get into a match. No. But just for nostalgic sake, I would be cool with Taker getting inside Hell in a Cell, hitting a choke slam on somebody and disappearing, or a tombstone on somebody and disappearing, much like he did at WrestleMania. Will that happen? Probably not. It's still just fun to think about from my own selfish nostalgic perspective. So let's see. I think Bash Berlin, especially given the crowd there, we all know the crowd that we're going to get because the international crowd is quite vocal. They absolutely have their own agendas. They want to show us how loud they can be, and they aren't shy about it. Also, if you didn't know, we have Gunther, who's now from Germany. He's no longer from Austria. I don't care, by the way, if he resides in Germany. He's not from Germany. Like, to me, it doesn't matter where you reside. It's where were you born? Okay? Where were you born? That is an immutable characteristic or an immutable fact about yourself. Can't change it. You were born with it, meaning that's what that means. So, hey, Randy Orton suddenly pretending that Germany is the home country of Gunther, and it's not. But Gunther and Randy Orton is going to be fun. That obviously was a big story that was pushed on Raw. I just have my reservations about how this whole thing came about. Why Randy is getting an opportunity over somebody else who's a resident Raw, draft pick of Raw. How exactly this happened. Not only does he get to Raw, but he gets a title shot for somebody on Raw. And then what if he wins? Does he go back to SmackDown? Does he stay on Raw? It's all messy. It's messy and it doesn't make sense. And then they're just trying to put the biggest card together they can for Bash in Berlin. And they didn't have a suitable opponent in their eyes on Raw existing on the roster already. So they had to pull from SmackDown, put him in the ring with a guy that is a legend that can still go. And that Randy Orton fits that bill perfectly. A guy that you know is not going to really win, but a guy that you know is going to help Gunther advance. Even if they do it to violate the draft, they don't give a damn. They don't care. And to some degree, I understand that. But at some point, I mean, can we just stick to the draft rules? At some point, maybe we can. So, a lot of hype's been given to that. A lot of it's going to revolve around maybe the RKO, maybe another sit down or maybe another interview. But I think the talking last week is probably as much talking as we're going to get with the Gunther Randy Orton program. And I think Randy Orton now is going to try to strike with an RKO. And, get us to maybe believe that Randy Orton could win, which we all know is not going to happen. So, other than that, we had Rhea Ripley and the Liv and Dom story. That all continues to be brilliant. Rhea Ripley has said, if you didn't check the interview, she did an interview, and I wish I could give credit to the podcast that interviewed her. She actually did get emotional in real life on camera when Liv and Dom united at SummerSlam. She was actually emotional about it, it's just why it came across so genuine. And I complimented Rhea Ripley on SummerSlam, the review, saying how good her emotions were. That she was a very layered emotional emotions on her face, and she did an awesome job. Turns out it was so damn good because she was serious about them. She was angry that the storyline was coming to an end with her and Dom. Her and Dom have a legitimate friendship. That is confirmed by Rhea. This is not just speculation. And they're on camera. Chemistry. Obviously, we all know what that is and how good that is. And Rhea Ripley was legitimately sad about everything ending for her. From that perspective anyway, she moves on to the next chapter with Priest and how they're going to help take out the Judgment Day. And yes, how's Rhea going to get her hands on Dom and Liv and all that. There's a lot of that to come. This was this past like SummerSlam a week ago was like a reset button for the product. Not that it really needed a reset or more of maybe a reset of storylines. It was angle heavy. And that's a good thing. It needed it. It needed it. And I think that everything right now is on a pretty good trajectory here as we head to Bash. Most things. But if you all know me, you know I'll find something to complain about. That's my specialty. That's my superpower. Just ask my wife. So, I think I'll conclude there. I don't want to run down much more on Raw because of just duplicate. No need to. But tomorrow night on Raw, we have confirmed 2 out of 3 falls with Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental title. So that's a thing that they added. I didn't know it was going to be 2 out of 3. We learned that on SmackDown. Randy Orton will likely confront Gunther again. And I think there might be one more thing, and I can't remember what it was on Raw, but I think I'll stop there. So if you want to go ad free, guys, patreon.com/WWE podcast or Apple or Spotify. Great ways to go ad free and get rid of all those ads you've heard about every 9 minutes on the show. And just hit play and sit back and listen. And whether you're at work, whether you're sitting in the bathroom, which a lot of us do. I mean, don't you wonder how much time is spent on your phone in the bathroom? If we could somehow total that, it'd be a scary number. It'd be scary. The amount of time wasted sitting on your phone while you're, taking care of business in the bathroom is, it's got to be an astounding number of minutes and hours and weeks lost. But anyway, another topic for another day. I'll end it there. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. I'll be back tomorrow with a little bit of nostalgia. I know some of you you love the nostalgia, some of you not so much, but that's why we provide it. Everything is not going to be for everybody, but that's what we'll do Mondays for now, and then Tuesday will be the Raw review. There's also a new Wrestle Magic show coming your way, so I'll drop that also probably by tomorrow, Monday morning. I'll be dropping that in the feed, and that's it. So, guys, go ad-free, patreon.com/WWE podcast. You can join ad-free for a week for free. You don't have to spend a dime and go ad-free and get a trial. All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Take care, and I will, talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.